Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be explaining how to join K-pop video calls. So I'm going to be explaining based off of my own experience. I have won 2 video calls in the past and I've still been trying for other calls, and I think I have enough experience to kind of just give a few tips, but just take everything with a grain of salt. You know, not everything I say is going to guarantee that you might get into a video call, but it's just to like help with your chances. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, what artists do you want to join video calls for, and are they a popular artist? So are they popular domestically, internationally, or both? I will say that their popularity does play a part in your chances of possibly winning a call, because the more popular they are, the more difficult it will be to join these calls. Another important question is, has your artist had a comeback recently? And if so, try to look for shops that are hosting those video calls so that way you can join them. So here are a few shops that do host video calls a lot. Off the top of my head, I do know like shops like applemusic, dearmymuse, everline, makestar, mymusictaste. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more. I'm gonna put the ones that I'm aware of on here. I think weverse even does them as well. I haven't had any experience with weverse, but yeah, I'm just gonna put all of them here. Now, once you have found the shops that you're going to be entering for, another important thing to look out for is the deadline of entering for these calls. This is important because the shorter the period, the better chances you might have of winning, because not a lot of people will enter for calls that have like a really short application period. Like I'm talking about 1 to 2 days. But if the application period is like a week or a week and a half, which usually doesn't go that long, but sometimes they do, there's just going to be a lot of people that you're going to be competing with. So that's just in my experience. I think just joining with a shorter period deadline is better. And also I think as an international fan specifically, you might have a better shot at joining for shops that not a lot of international fans join through, specifically for the groups that you stan. So that's when you have to start doing your research on like Twitter to see what shops are good and what shops are not good. Now you want to check whether this call is like a video call for a group, the unit, or one-on-one. Personally, I think you would have more of a bigger chance entering for one-on-one, just because they select a lot more winners in total rather than just like the group itself or a unit. That is because when it comes to group and unit calls, you're competing with a lot more people, and the amount of people that they select in is not as much as they would pick for a one-on-one. So for example, for the boys, there will be like 100+ winners in total to talk to like the boys members, and then individually there's like 15 people that would win to talk to them. Now, most shops do pick winners domestically and internationally. Even though we don't know how each shop selects their winners, I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of shops will choose a select amount of domestic winners like Korean and a select amount of international winners. They do pick a lot more Korean winners obviously than international winners, but mostly every single shop does have that batch of international winners, so there is a chance. However, usually for international fans, the amount of winners that they pick through these shops are like 5 or less international fans, which is kind of sad, but that's just the reality of it. Some shops do pick a lot more international fans, but mostly those Korean shops do not. Now, of course, comes the big question: how much do you need to buy to even have a chance? And everything is based off of luck. You can buy 1 and get in, you can buy 5 and get in, you can buy 60 and lose, you can buy 200 and lose. Like, it's all by chance, but there are numbers that people have continuously won with, and that just goes from group to group. Like, if you buy a certain amount for one group, it's not going to be the same for another group. Like, you might lose with that amount of albums, so it all just depends. From what I've seen, a lot of more popular groups like hype groups, people have entered with like 400+ albums, 100+ albums, and they've won. Some people have lost, some people have won with just 1 album or 5 albums for hype groups. So again, it's just luck, but a lot of people do purchase with higher numbers to have a higher chance, because your name gets applied for every single album purchase. So if you bought 400 albums, your name gets entered 400 times. So it's all chance. Now, of course, if the group isn't as popular, you'll probably be able to get into a call guaranteed with like 10 to 40 albums. I've seen that happen a lot, even with some more popular groups. Well, groups that I would think are popular but maybe are not as popular domestically. But for those smaller groups, you don't really have to buy way too much, but if you stand those big groups, then you might have to spend some coins or have immense luck. Now, here's something that shops don't really talk about, but I think it's pretty obvious, is that there are groups that have consistent winners. Like, there are the same people that win every single time, every single era, and get to talk to their bias like 50 times or 20 times. I know it's like exaggerated, but sometimes it's the truth. Like, these people that win every time talk with them multiple times, and they spend lots and lots of money, which is wild. Even though the shops don't tell you this, there are shops that do pick based on how much you bought. Even though they don't say, it's obvious when you look at the winners list and you see the same people every time. Like, come on. It's gotten obvious at this point where, like, we're not dumb, you know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of that. For my example for this video, I am going to be using the boys and golden child because those are the two groups that I have experience in joining for calls, and I have won a call for both groups, so I think it'll be best to use these two. Now, I entered for both of these groups through Makestar, which is actually very international friendly. They tend to pick a lot more international winners than most other shops do. So if you're looking for an international friendly shop, Makestar is the one. Now, I'm going to be very transparent about how many albums I bought to get into each call. I know a lot of people are not like transparent about how many albums they buy to enter for their video calls, but I want to be honest with you guys. So to enter for a golden child video call, I entered with a total of 35 albums, and this was specifically to join for a Bowman one-on-one call. And then for the boys, the estimate for it is about 55 albums that were bought to enter me for Eric's one-on-one call. And I say like to enter me because for this call specifically, I actually won a fan call raffle through a group order manager, and I kind of just counted out like the winners, and it came out to about 55 total, including the GOM herself. So I came to that conclusion. 55 would make a lot of sense, and it's an even number, 11 members, you know, 5 sets of pobs, so makes sense. So with the amount of albums that were entered for a chance to win those calls, I actually did win both of them. And just a little fun fact, not that anyone cares, but I won my Bowman call and my Eric call, and they were both going to take place on the same day except a year apart. So my Bowman call took place August 13th, 2022, and my Eric call took place August 13th, 2023. So I thought that was a little cool, kind of scary, but also cool. So I'm wondering if I'm going to win another call on August 13th, 2024, but we'll see. Let's talk a little bit about fan call raffles. So if you're someone who can't afford to like join video calls, like buy a bunch of albums, you can try to enter for fan call raffles. Now, fan call raffles are usually hosted by group order managers, so try to look for group order managers within your group's community. They tend to host group orders for that artists, you know, come back, and they'll say, hey, I'm raffling off this call. Usually those people are fans that don't really want the call, but they want like the pre-order benefits and whatnot. So they'll raffle off the call. Now all you have to do is just buy a spot in that group order, and then they'll do the raffle. If you win the raffle, so in the case that when I won my raffle in the Eric fan call one, you will win the raffle, but that doesn't mean that you will win the call. That's just, you got picked to be entered for the call. So you also have to hope that you actually win the actual call, and it's not guaranteed, obviously. That's when you have to hope and manifest. In my case, I won, but not everyone is going to win, so just keep that in mind. So that is all the tips that I have about joining for video calls today. If I miss anything or something wasn't clear, or you have any other inputs about the things that I talked about, let me know in the comment section below. I would really like to know, and tell me your video call stories if you've had a chance to get into a video call. I would love to hear it. I would really do. So please feel free to leave that down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.